Ooh, landing that one. Oh, here comes the fourth. Hello. Biting.
Lance and Aaron rushing in Taiwan fishing for shrimp really makes me jealous because it's one of my favorite things to do in fishing. You get your pole, you get your bait, you feel the bite, you set the hook. It is so much fun fishing in these indoor ponds in Taiwan. And perhaps the best part of it all is when you catch them, you later grill them up, and they are so tasty. Let me tell you, Patrick, my son, and I have had some real battles, competitions, trying to catch the most shrimp. Fun times in Taiwan. If you ever go, you have to do the indoor shrimp fishing.
Little afternoon trip, my half day with my daughter. She's off to school today. She said, let's go fishing. Let's go fishing? Yeah. Oh, se nos fue. Oh, no, ahí está, es una baracuta.
Talk about special and memorable moments for Louie and his daughter Marilyn, and it's for real sport fishing. They managed to catch several barracuda and a 17-pound yellowtail taken on a Salis 6X Jr. Really great fishing in Ensenada, and more importantly, memories for a lifetime. You are looking at the deck of the Mission Bell full-day boat out of Point Loma Sport Fishing with Captain Sean Hardigan. Tremendous bite yesterday as they had limits on the bluefin tuna. Seemed like 40-pound fluorocarbon with a good hot flatline bait was the ticket. Fish anywhere from 20 to 50, even 100 pounds in some cases. So make sure you bring a variety of tackle as the bite is red hot out of San Diego. This is full-day fishing. Boats leave in the morning, come back in the evening. Great trip on the Mission
Stay
Bell.
tuned. You're watching Friedman Adventures. Mwah!
Hey, good Saturday morning, everybody. Thanks for taking time to join me here in Surfside, California. We're in the USA, as you know. So many of you are joining us from so many different parts of the world. I thought I'd give you a little of the geography. We're sandwiched in between a little town called Seal Beach and then Huntington Beach, and we're plopped right down in the middle of it, and it's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Southern California. You can see people walking on the beach. There's a large pod of dolphin really in tight to the surf. You might see them as the report goes on. People having fun, and there is some great fishing going on in Southern California. We're going to get you caught up on all of it. The bluefin tuna bite down in northern Mexico, northern Baja, is really good. So is it out of San Diego. But there's a caveat that we'll talk about in just a moment. LA Orange County-based boats are in on this bluefin tuna right now. There's yellows at Clemente. There's some good fishing in the Channel Islands. The surf fishing bite is coming on. We're knocking on the door of our 4th of July celebration here in the United States of America. And what a lead-in we had with some shots from the Grande catching bluefin tuna. Also the Mission Bell with a spectacular day. Don't you dare laugh at that shrimp fishing in Taiwan. That really is a lot of fun. I mean, I've had some of the most competitive races against my son and other guys over there in Taiwan. It's really fun. Anyway, hey, I digress for a moment. It's time to get into it all because you know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, another welcome sip of coffee. That is so good. Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, and please share these videos if you are enjoying them. That means a lot to us. You hitting that like button really helps. And if you'd like to leave a comment, do it. Leave a comment when you think the first albacore will be caught here in Southern California. And you can put, there's not going to be any albacore, you nutcase. 3rd year in a row, you're going to be wrong. Anyway, love your comments, love you sharing, love you giving us a like. It all means so much to us. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as we have regular updates throughout the day on the hot fishing, where it's at, what to use, all of that just for all of you. All right, let's get into it. On the cover of today's morning briefing, a guy by the name of Mike Jewett, aka Hot Dog. And Mike I haven't seen for many, many years, but I spent a lot of great times with him. He was the captain of the Big Game 90. Super good guy. So glad to see that he is doing well. And why not start with his trip on the Pacific Voyager, because it was a great one. I mean, they had fishing from night that bled right on into the day. It was full speed, wide open on the 30 to 90 pound bluefin tuna. Does it get any better than that? It was easy limits fishing on the Pacific Voyager for Mike and his group, and they just had spectacular fishing. If that wasn't enough, I mean, they have limits of bluefin tuna, so they said, let's go to the Coronado Islands and relax a little bit. Yeah, relax, right. Big barracuda, yellowtail biting pretty darn well at the Coronado Islands. What a trip on the Pacific Voyager. Great to see my friend having so much fun. I will tell you that the Independence yesterday, their night bite a night ago, they had about 30 bluefin tuna, and then their daytime bite yesterday, they had another 35 bluefin tuna. Most of it's 20 to 30, 35 pounds like that. I was talking to Phil Brian, the guy that runs the Independence, and he said, Phil, to get a bite, you really had to drop it down to 25, 30 pound fluorocarbon. www.optionusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. He said that was a real key. Of course, choosing a good hot bait and changing that bait regularly. I know I just pound that home all the time, but there's new people coming to the channel all the time, and I want to make sure you are all getting that down, how important it is to take your time and choose a good hot bait. Novice angler, you walk on the boat and you say to the crew members, please, I need your help. Teach me how to choose a hot bait. Teach me where to cast it. All of that will make a big difference to your success. Grande on a full day trip yesterday with 10 bluefin tuna. You saw that lead in. Guys hitting that, sticking that fish up in the bow. Nice stick, by the way, on the Grande. Perfect gaff job, by the way. And they also had 3 yellowfin tuna. We'll talk about that in a moment. San Diego, 2 days of limits of bluefin tuna. Yesterday, 29 bluefin tuna. The Mission Bell had 20-something bluefin, if I have that right. I really didn't get their score, but I talked to Sean, and he said it wasn't as good, but still pretty decent. Good sign of fish. Now, the good news about this bite out of San Diego is that the fish are close to Point Loma, where you are departing from. Really, really close. The bad news is that the fish are really close to Point Loma. And by that, I mean, you know, it's a short drive to get to it, but man, you are getting a lot of pressure here right now. It's 4th of July weekend. You know, the 4th is going to be on Tuesday, and the place is corroded with boats here this morning, and that is going to make the job a lot more difficult. Some guys, private boaters, are just getting going, so they're not really in tune to what's going on, so they drive over fish or they go too close to the sport boats. So it's going to make it a lot more difficult, but hopefully guys are going to get it done. Now remember, that admonition from Brian on the Independence is so important. Make sure you've got some lighter line with you. Don't leave your heavy at home. You might get into a ripper bite where you want to break out the 40 or even 60 pound, but you got to have, and I would suggest 25 pound. And Brian and many of the guys are telling me casualty rates when you drop the line test down are high. Going to lose a lot more fish, but you will get bit, and that is super important. So keep that in mind. Last night's night bites, a couple of really great scores, some decent scores for many, and then some misses also. So again, a lot of boat pressure on that fish in that neck of the woods. We get you up to the LA Orange, let me jump across the border, and the Pongueros down in Ensenada are doing really good. They're mostly trolling Mad Mac lures around to get their jig strikes on bluefin tuna, but they've been doing really well. If they're not fishing that, there's barracuda, there's bonita. You saw Louis Prieto. It's for real sport fishing. If you're looking to go with somebody out of Ensenada, he does a great job. Louis is a fantastic guy. He'll put you on the fish. But there's yellows and barracuda and some rockfish locally, so that's good news. Gives you an alternative, an option if you don't want to go looking offshore. As this water temperature warms, however, we're going to continue to see this season improve and improve and improve, and we certainly are seeing it. You see those little shots of yellowfin tuna. I talked to you the other day about a couple of Dorado that were taken up on the Oregon-California border, way up north there in 59-degree water. That suggests to me that there's something larger at play here. We've got cold water right now, but these tropical and subtropical fish starting to push in, and that suggests that that El Nino is going to get rolling here very, very soon, which will undoubtedly chase our albacore out of here. What albacore, you ask? Well, if the albacore ever show up, they're a cooler water loving tuna. 63 degrees, 64 degrees, 65 degrees, gets up towards 70, and they say, I'm out of here, way too hot for me. So we'll just see how that all plays out. But you can see that the El Nino is starting to push some fingers up into our area, and it is looking more and more interesting all the time. We'll keep our eyes on that development also. Thunderbird yesterday out of Newport Landing. What a great trip with limits of bluefin tuna. God, the guys on the Thunderbird have been killing it and doing really, really well. And of course, the other night there was some good night bites. The Amigo with my friends from the Dana Angling Club had a shot on the bluefin tuna. The El Patron had good fishing the other night on the bluefin tuna also. They had 8 bluefin. Then they went to the island, caught 6 yellowtail and also 2 halibut. Nothing wrong with that. So there are some hits. San Clemente Island, man, the sea lions there are an A1 pain in the neck. And they really make it very difficult to put a score together on the yellowtail at Clemente. There are some good hits from time to time. The Fury had some decent yellowtail fishing. I think the Freedom had one yesterday. Talking to Tino Valentine, he's ready to pull his hair out on those sea lions. Still gorgeous day and a lot of yellows there. And at any given point in time, it can turn on and bite. Fly line bait has been working well over there when the yellows do fire up, and a yo-yo iron when you can hook those fish on 40-pound and pull hard before a sea lion even has a chance to think about it. So think about throwing an iron. And remember, up in the bow is a great place. Keeping an eye out and observing is so important. You see that bird dip, you see a bait jump out of the water, cast to that. There's a fish nearby that's going to gobble your iron up. So some decent fishing at San Clemente Island, backed up with some sheep's head and whitefish, that kind of a thing. A lot of guys, however, are concentrating offshore, especially after that score that they had on board the Thunderbird yesterday. Catalina Island, we continue to see some really good scores from private boaters. There's a lot of boats there this morning already. Native Sun, the Pursuit, several other guys have been fishing over there. Most of the time getting a shot at yellowtail. There's been some good sea bass scores. The guys are trying to keep quiet. There's been some halibut taken over there. A little bit of calico bass, barracuda, bonita. The 3 Bs are providing some action. The Sport King had 9 yellowtail yesterday. Scores have been mostly on the yellowtail, I want to say from a few fish to maybe a dozen on average. Fish anywhere from 8 to 20 pounds in most cases. The common denominator has been fishing light line. You have to really drop it down to get a yellow bite over there. I'm talking 20-pound fluoro. That'll really work well. Some guys go down to 15. If they know what they're doing, they can get it done. Aloha Spirit with a few bass and barracuda and halibut. That kind of a shot up there. In the Channel Islands, there's been a few sea bass taken. I am really surprised that we're not seeing a big explosion of white sea bass. Who knows? Maybe one's going on right now, and I'll be able to get back to the studio and update you on that today during the daytime. There's always plenty of rockfish up there in the Channel Islands, so you're always guaranteed that, especially with nice weather. It's gorgeous here today, as you can see. Have you seen any of those dolphin back there? If so, let me know in a comment down below. Those dirty rats are eating all my yellowfin, croaker, and halibut here this morning. Just kidding. We love dolphin here at Friedman Adventures. All right, Grunion Run, July the 3rd. We've got that coming up. Don't forget about that. If you want to bring the kids down and experience that, that's always a lot of fun. More importantly, it does get the surf fishing bite going with that big bright full moon and that bait moving up on the beach. That should kick this halibut bite into gear. Should see some pretty good flatty fishing going on. James Mosier. James, great catch on a big thresher shark that you can see there right there at the Newport, or pardon me, at the breakwall here in San Pedro, or I should say Long Beach. Nice fishing for James and a big T-shark indeed. All right, my friends, there is so much to watch for you here throughout the day. Please like, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring. Don't forget that. Have a wonderful Saturday and a great weekend, and wishing you a wonderful 4th of July in advance. And once again, everything here is absolutely gorgeous. More and more people starting to show up, and hopefully you'll catch lots of fish. All right, my friends, always good spending time with you. Take care, and I hope to see you really, really soon. Hey, good morning.